Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the Carousel Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to a PDF with instructions so you can refer back to it. So to get started, go to your theme editor. On the left-hand side, you can select Add Section. Obviously, you're on the page that you want to add the section to. Select Add Section. Let's look for the section that you want, which is called QQ Carousel. It comes in the default view of the section itself. Where on the left side, you can add slides in, however many you want. I think the limit should be 16. And on the right-hand side, you have various options. Let's start by adding some content in. So selecting the slide itself, you have an option to add in an image, set the title, a text block, and a button if you'd like. So selecting an image, let's select this image here. Obviously, you could put in icons or whatever you'd like, depending on your needs of the section, of the specific section. Here you would set up this slide title and the text block here. Moving on down, a button. If you want a button, then you have to add in both the link and the label. Otherwise, you could just remove, and then you don't have a button at all. So let's just keep it without a button for now. And that would be the same for any of these. So let's just add in a few more images. Let's get rid of the button, like that. Let's just put that image in there. Okay. Next, we'd go into setting the various options that we have here. So clicking on the main section up on the left side, and then looking over to the right. Here you have very many different options to set. You could select the title itself. So hiding that, for instance, or whatever, putting the title in. HTML element, you can select between H1 and H6. This is good for SEO to give importance to the title. It also helps with styling, as your theme already has specific styling for these different elements, and you can just inherit them automatically without needing to set them up here, but you still have the freedom to change it if you'd like. You can also add in some text here below, which is, a short paragraph or something that you'd like to have underneath there. If you go down, you can set to have the Carousel Autoplay. That way it'll change depending on the speed every 4 seconds that you set up here. If you put it onto every 1 second, then it'll just switch really quickly, like so. Let's just keep this off so it doesn't distract us. We can also set where you can show the slide titles for all sections, and then when you move over, you'll also see the text block if it's there. You'll see the remainder button and the text block itself. So that's also an option, or you could just turn it off and just the active one will be shown. Next option, you can set how many slides you want to actually be shown in the carousel. So right now we have set 5 slides, and so it's going to show all 5 slides and it's going to loop an infinite amount. Or you can change it to, let's say, 3, and then you'll only see 3, for instance. Another option you have is to set to show the next slides on the either side. So if you select that, then you can see half of the previous and half of the next slide, just like so. Now this only works on center mode. Center mode is actually when there's an odd number of slides. So there's always the active slide is actually appearing in the middle. If you're showing an uneven or an even number, then the active is gone. The center mode is gone, and the active slide becomes the one on the left, like so. But let's just keep this at 5 right now. You have the option also to enlarge the active slide. So if we make this bigger, and this also works only on center mode, you can make it, much bigger, so you could see, so it kind of stands out more, depending on whether you'd like to do that or not. Carousel speed we covered. You can add more space between the slides. So if you'd like them to be much more spread out or touching, that's up to you. And you can set the same thing for on mobile, on the mobile view as well. Moving on, we have these arrows here. These are default arrows, and you can select, you can change their color if you'd like. Or you can upload your own image. So for instance, if you select this image, then, and the one for the right, you can have your own arrows. Or if you have SVGs, then you can place the path here where you would upload the SVG to the Files section in the Shopify admin by going to Settings, Files, and then upload the file there. Taking a look here, you'd go to Settings, Files, and you can upload an image there. And then by clicking here, you would actually copy the link over. Then you can paste it in there. Next, we have section width here. Section width, right now, the entire section is limited by the maximum content width, or actually the content width of the site, of the theme that's set. You can make these much smaller, for instance, if you'd like it to be much smaller like that. You can make it go to the regular width, or you can set full width, and then they touch to the edges of the browser. Now, setting this full width, you'll notice that the arrows, because we don't want them hovering over the image itself, we move the arrows down to the bottom, below the active slide in the center, like that. So you could click on them, and then they would move, so on. Next, we have section background color. You can set a background color to the entire section, like that. And then you can set the top margin, bottom margin, which is the space above and below the entire section. So you have most probably more sections, and you'd like to create more space between them, then you can just set that up and move that. Next, we have top and bottom margin, which is the space within the section itself. So if you want more breathing room, you can set that up like that. More breathing room on the bottom as well, like that. So horizontal padding only works if you're not in the full screen mode. Full screen mode takes the carousel and moves it to the very edges. So if we're on regular, then we have the max width, which is the entire section, and then you can set horizontal padding, which is this distance here. So just like that, or nothing at all, and then they move that, so you can just adjust that for it to have a little bit more room in there. Next, we have the same padding and margins for mobile. On mobile version, since we're already talking, let's see mobile. So we have this option here. Let's add in some more bottom margins here, so there's more space between the text and the section itself. If you have a background color, it's much more noticeable, obviously. But you could do also top margin like that, and you have it defaulted to show one slide at a time on mobile versions. You could, however, set the distance between the slides here, and if you have partially show slides on edges, then you see that difference like that. That's when you actually see more of the slides, and it's more relevant. That setting itself. Moving on, let's just change this back to, getting rid of that. There we go. Section title styling, which is styling this. If you don't want to use the default, you can always go in and change these options as well, make that title red, or set a custom font and the alignment, either left, right, or center, like so. In terms of custom font, if you want to use a different font, you can click this checkbox, select a font from the Shopify selection, or add in the CSS rule that's set up in your theme itself to use a different custom font. You can set the font weight, font size, line height, and letter spacing as well, and the same settings for the mobile version. Text area styling, so this is this text area. So here you could go in and you can change that setting as well. Let's make that black just for the difference. Set the font weight, and the font size, line height, and letter spacing. Same goes for mobile. Then we have some margins for the slider itself. So if we want more space here, we can just add more top margin, like so, and it gives some more space right there. And then margin below, this would only be used primarily if you have the arrows at the bottom. It's there for specific reasons that I won't get into right now. And then the same top margins for the mobile as well. Image dimensions, we can set them to be all square if, let's say, some of your images are different dimensions, or you can have it choose original. Original isn't so recommended, as you can see. It becomes jagged, but maybe you like the look of it, and so that's an option that you can do. You can have all of them set up as portrait in portrait mode, like that, or landscape, like that. Next, for this section here, we could set the HTML element for this, so H1 to H6. The slide alignment, so if you want it to be left aligned, for instance, or right aligned, you're free to do so. Setting the color title, the title color, like that. This would work on all of the slides, so you don't have to do it separately or individually. Set the font weight, the margins of the title itself above and below, the font size, line height, letter spacing, the same settings for mobile, and basically the same settings as for the title goes for the text block as well. So we have color and fonts and font size, line height, letter spacing. And for the button itself here, we can set the font. We could set the font weight, font size, letter spacing, and as well as go in here and change the colors of it. So if let's say we want to have white text with a blue background and red border, we don't see it changing. There it is. Because the current first slide here, we can even move it here so we see the changes automatically. There we go. And then you can set the hover color. So if we don't touch the hover colors, then you can see that changes the black. But let's just make it really different and change the background to, or the border color to white. And let's change this to this gray. Then you can see the real difference of it, like so. Going back to mobile just to check to see how it's looking for us. Looking great. And that's it. So thank you again, and we hope this section helps you achieve your website goals. If you have any questions or any problems, please don't hesitate to contact us via the support page or the contact page on the website. That's it. Hope you enjoy it.